All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Been a few days since I've been on, but a lot of stuff been going on. Got me here to the ground as always. The finals wrapped up on Sunday. A lot of us thought that the Thunder should have probably wrapped that up much earlier than what they did. But when you look at the Thunder, I always thought, based on the way they played all year, that they would win the championship. To me, they were the best team all year, and I didn't see anybody beating them. And I also didn't see the Pacers being able to stick with them for that long. But anytime that you play for a championship, all bets are off. And Indiana, while they didn't win the championship, they showed that they have the heart of a champion. But like I said, in the end, in the beginning, that team, they're just too inconsistent from the starting players to be worthy of a championship. And had they been able to pull it off, that would have been a monumental upset. Now, in the process of getting to that point, you had Tyrese Haliburton trying to play through a calf strain. I told you guys before, if he truly had a calf strain, he wasn't going to be able to play. And I'm not talking about the Game 7. I'm talking about when it first came out before Game 6, that he had a calf strain. And I gave you guys several examples of the couple of times that I had calf strains myself. And I know from experience, you can walk normally and you con yourself that you can play. But as soon as you start to move and you put any kind of torque on that calf, then you're going to know right away that you're not going to be able to play. Now, the credit has to go to Indiana staff because some kind of way they numbed the pain and made it possible for him to do something on a limited basis to make him think that he can go harder than what he could actually do. But in the heat of a game, you forget all about the injuries that you have, and you start to perform try to perform like you are normal. And that's what happened to Hallebertton. He tried to take off too fast, and he ruptured that Achilles. And it went from something that was manageable for a couple of weeks. Now he might be sitting out for the whole year. So I don't know what's going to happen from this particular point forward. I just got this message from Kendrick Lamar. They ain't no Kendrick Lamar. Get your own name, buddy. Stop trying to live off somebody else's glory. But I gave Hallebertton hell because I looked at it like maybe he was faking his injury because I didn't think if he truly had a calf strain, he wasn't going to be able to play. But for him to go out and try to play on something like that, and I didn't think that he really had a injury, so I called him a classic front runner. And I think what he was doing, since his Game 5 was so terrible, he faked an injury to make people think that, well, the reason why he played so bad was because of the injury. Remember, I said he's a classic front runner because if you notice when he's doing things well, he's jumping up and down and playing to the crowd, and he might do something like the choke symbol with the Knicks. But then when he plays bad, you don't even know he's on the floor. And if you're going to be the point guard leader of a team, you can't go out like that. And that's the way I thought he was going out. But I have to give him his credit for trying to play. But in doing so, he had put his career in jeopardy because that Achilles now has been ruptured. So just like Lillard in Milwaukee and Tatum in Boston, they probably won't play at all next year. So what does that mean for the Pacers? I had floated the idea that maybe they should go after a guy like Kevin Durant. But it didn't seem to work out that way. Durant had decided to go with the Rockets. And the worst kept secret is he's going to be traded, or has been traded to the Rockets from Phoenix in exchange from Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. And they're also going to get the Rockets. The Phoenix is going to get the Rockets' 10th pick in tonight's draft. And the question is, what would he do with that pick? Way they're willing and Dylan, I think they're going to probably trade him and go get some more players to go along with Durant. And what's the other guy? The guy on the wing commercial that didn't show up in the playoffs. I forget his name, but they got him. Van Vliet's still there. So Houston's going to be a pretty good team there. And especially when you got a guy like Durant that can score at will. Regardless of his advancing age, he can still put the ball in the hoop. So it'd be interesting to see what the Rockets do with that 10th pick. But it's also interesting to see what Dallas is going to do with the top pick. It's widely regarded that they will take Cooper Flag with that pick. Everybody says that this guy here has the tremendous upside to be a very effective top-level NBA player. I saw flashes of it myself when he was playing with Duke. That look in his eye and the way he's attacking the basket, that was NBA-like the way he was doing that against those college guys. Now, he's been playing against older players for years, so the transition won't be that great for him moving into the NBA level. But the question is, will the Mavs keep that pick and go after veteran players, or will they go ahead and stay with Flag and try to build around him? Now, I don't know when Kyrie Irving's supposed to come back, and Anthony Davis should be fully recovered at this point. So it's an opportunity that Dallas, they're going to be a pretty good team once they get to playing with each other and figuring out what moves to make. So that'll be interesting moving forward. But just like the NBA, NFL draft, the NBA has moved to a 2-day format. So generally, they only have 2 drafts, and you don't have so many positions available, so there's no reason to have 6, 7 rounds like the NFL. So what they're going to do is the first round tonight, and they're going to come back with the second round tomorrow. So a lot of NBA enthusiasts will have their eyes on that. Meanwhile, football, as always, takes precedence, and the count is on for the training camps, which start next month, and it's going to go all the way into February, and the world will be right again. Football, football, football. Everything centered around football. It is king, and unless they do something stupid like continue to try to legislate contact out of the game, then football will always continue to be the top sport. JC, how you doing, man? I just come on a little early before I get started in the day. Normally when I get started, I get to doing this and doing that. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock, and I'm way off my axis. So I'm trying to start a little early today to get caught up. But I'm just talking about the effect of Hallebertton and what damage has he done to himself. The injury that he had, 3-4 weeks, he would have been fine. Let that thing repair itself. And now he's taking a calf strain, and he's got a full-blown Achilles tear, and he's probably not going to play the whole year. So the strides that the Pacers made this year, they're going to take them back a couple of steps next year. They didn't go after Kevin Durant, so I don't know what they're going to do with the lineup they have, minus Haliburton. I don't see the Pacers getting anywhere close to doing what they did this year. So they're going to have to replace Hallebertton in the interim, and I don't know who that can be. Now, if they get a player that's more consistent than Hallebertton, then you may have seen the end of Hallebertton in Indiana. All depends. But it's a tremendous opportunity for whoever they come in, whoever they bring in to try to replace him. So I don't know. Now, speaking of health, Deion Sanders is back on the canvas again. He's having health issues that caused him to miss some of those required camps he was supposed to have for Colorado. Blood clots seem to be his issue, and I don't know how you get rid of those things. And I started to worry about it. But it also leads into what I thought about what he was going to do all along. I felt that once his sons were done playing, he was going to be finished with coaching. But he surprised me by sticking around. And I have to say I was wrong because I stuck to that. And I was certain that he wasn't going to be able to continue coaching if his sons weren't there. And with these health problems, it would have been a perfect time for him to ride on off into the sunset and do whatever he wanted to do for as long as he can do it and try to get fully well instead of trying to be out there on the field trying to coach. But, you do what keeps you alive, and maybe this is what's really keeping him alive, a purpose. So the only thing you can do is hope he bounces back. But these continued blood clot problems are a problem. He's already had multiple surgeries, so I don't know what can be done to get him back right. and other than further amputations, and all that does is just cause other problems. So I hope he bounce back and do what's best for him to try to get back right. But those blood clots are a problem. Yeah, Jason, he did want the championship so bad. And when you try to play, like I say, the adrenaline takes over, and you kind of forget that you have that injury, and that's the time that you get yourself messed up. If you notice in Game 5, the same area of the court where he fell the same kind of way in Game 7. And this time you can see when he pushed off with that right leg, that torque, just too much. And like I said, I've had those calf strains before. It's like stepping on a giant-sized needle every time you move too fast. And he tried to torque, and that's what got him. And he's taking an injury that could have been 3-4 weeks out, just rest, and he would have been fine. But now he's probably gonna be gone for the whole season. So even though that you want to win that championship, it's gonna backfire on you and push you back even further. But that leads to the question of rest. I give these guys hell about this body load management thing that they have, where they won't play a whole season. They'll sit out certain games to try to maintain themselves. And it's a concept that's despised by older style sports fans like myself. We don't want to hear that crap about you load management, because you got kids that's been marking their calendars and waiting for you to come to their city. And they spend all their money and they get these tickets and they want to have the full experience. And then when they get there, you're not even playing. So that's not a good thing, especially when there's no reduction in the court prices. But it still brings to mind that you want to try to maintain yourself to get to the playoffs so you can be 100%. Now, in defense of those guys, they do play an awful lot of games. And the more games you play, the more opportunity you have to get yourself hurt. And taking it easy at sometimes, you should be enough break in there that you should be able to fully recover, given that if you play for a team that manages your minutes during the season, then you should be able to make it through to the end of the season. But it's unfortunate that at the most critical time of the season, when you get hurt, I kind of had something like that happened to myself. I used to run track in high school, and you have 3 levels before you make it, 2 levels before you make it to state. You get your district, then you go to the region, and you have to be in the top 4 to get out of the region to make it to state. I had an opportunity to make it to state in 2 events, the 200 and the 4x1 relay. But that Tuesday before the regional meet, I pulled a hamstring, and I wasn't able to compete. So in that sense, I understand how you want to go to a certain point so bad and you can't do it because your body let you down, and you want to do everything you can to try to get there, but you just can't do it. And in the case of being a high school senior, there's no more tomorrow. This is it. And Hallebertton doesn't have that situation because he can repair himself and he can come back. But will he have another opportunity to win a championship? I don't know. It depends on what happens with where he goes and what Indiana does and what leads to the next step. But you think that he will have at least 1 or 2 other opportunities to get there. But when you're in that situation, you don't know. So you want to try to maximize that as best as you can, and that's what Hallebertton was doing. He didn't want to let his team down, and then as you can see, it backfired on him. But he'll be back. All right. Hallebertton and Tatum will miss next season. I thought Durant didn't miss the whole season when he tore his ACL. I'm not sure how long he sat out, but when you tear ACL, even with the pros, with the NBA staff, the medical staff, you're going to miss a significant amount of time. I would think that you can bounce back quicker than a year, because what they're doing is pretty much preparing you, and you're going to be back better than what you were before when you do come back. So I just would, it's like knee injuries in football. It don't take as long as it used to take to come back from these things. And I guess the ACL health management hasn't reached that level yet. But I'd like to see how Durant's going to do with this Rockets team. The one problem that they did have, they couldn't score when they needed to score. Van Vliet got hot sometimes there in the end. but the young stars didn't come through. And that's one of the reasons why Jalen Green was a trade bait, because he just weren't consistent enough. But that's the theme across the whole league. Most of these teams have players, and they're just not performing at a consistent level. And anytime you want to win a championship, you got to be consistent. In OKC, they were consistent all year long. They had little moments there when it looked like, man, what the hell going on? They just weren't hitting on all cylinders, and they was out there pretty much BSing. And it almost cost them twice. The Nuggets almost got them, and then the Pacers almost got them. So you know the Pacers are going to say, man, we hadn't lost Hallebertton, we would have won this game. Maybe, maybe not. But it's easy to think that because the sports guys are cruel. Hallebertton come out and hit all those threes, look like he's going to have a monster performance, and bam, reality strikes. And that happens all the time in sport. But we wish him the best, and hopefully he'll bounce back. But again, tonight, the NBA draft starts. You're going to have round 1 tonight, round 2 tomorrow. We already know about the trade that the Rockets and the Suns made. Brooks and Jalen Green are going to Phoenix. Durant's going to Houston. And Phoenix is also going to get the number 10 pick of the Rockets. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with their pick. Will they trade it to keep it? Will the Mavs actually go out to Cooper Flag? I think with what took place with that Luka Doncic thing, I think they might want to get Flag for the sake of keeping this guy's job. Well, we'll see how that goes. But again, Deion Sanders, he's having those health problems again. I don't know how that's going to affect his career moving forward. And maybe he can tell his son to slow down, start getting all those speeding tickets. He got like 200-mile-an-hour tickets in a very short period of time. And I noticed in Florida that they just come up with a new law that's going to enact July 1st. You can be taken to jail now for getting a speeding ticket over 50 miles an hour. The first time you can get 30 days in jail, the second time 90 days in jail. So anytime out of that, you probably won't have a license and you're going to escalate the jail time. But you get a lot of people that be speeding through school zones, and I can understand the interstate at times, but not on the surface streets. Eventually somebody's going to get run over, and a lot of close calls happen more than you think. So maybe that's a good law. Still not as draconian as what they came up with in Virginia a few years back. I remember if you had like a 10-mile power over the speed limit up there, you were looking at $1,000 speeding ticket, and that is the most cruel I ever seen. So hopefully it doesn't get that way down here in Florida. But anyway, I just want to come on and catch up with you guys. It's been a few days since I've been on, and what are you talking about, sports jazz fan? We were talking about Achilles, but you know, I don't think I misspoke there. Joe Lowe, looked like Haliburton was going to have a great game, but man, the sports guards are cruel. And he'll bounce back. He's just going to be out for a whole year. He's going to have to put the work in. I think he'll be fine, but will he be with the Pacers moving forward? Got to take a look at his contract and see how that plays out. And I think the person that steps in as point guard for the Pacers is going to have opportunity there to be the new leader of that team. If it performs well, that might be the end of Hallebertton in Indiana. All right. But anyway, there's some breaking news. I'll catch you guys in the morning. This seems like a pretty good time slot, so we'll try it again tomorrow morning, and we'll try to stay on track here. But I hope you NBA fans get the players that you want tonight, and we'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, JC, he's still around. Towards ACL, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen you in a while, sports jazz fan. I know I've seen you before. But anyway, I appreciate you guys waking up with me this morning. About to hit the road, got another long day. Got a few ends to take care of, but if there's some breaking news, I'll be sure to cover it. And if not, I'll catch you guys on about this time in the morning. So if you haven't subscribed or liked, please do that. That would be greatly helpful to the cause. And I'll be back at you on the other side. So until then, have a great day. This is Sports for Real. I'm out. About to hit the roads, Jack. Speaking of the road, I am going to be Appreciate it, Sports Jazz. I got some RV traveling I got lined up later on before the summer is over with. So let me check this poll before I go. Will the Mavs trade the top pick? Most of you say no. I don't think so either. Nico Harris better not trade that pick if he wants to survive in Dallas. They already want his head, and if he did that and then Flag turns out to be a star, shame on him, man. All right, have a great day. Sports for Real, I'm out. Almost Steelers time.